Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're here today with our good friend Lorna Rande. Lorna is proprietary and principal photographer, artist, and graphic designer for Artistic Imagery in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Beautiful place. Lorna's passion is to photographically document the beauty she discovers. Lorna stepped into the digital realm in 2006. Since then, she has learned graphic design through many commissioned art projects for graduations, weddings, babies' arrival, dedications, birthdays, and retirements. Lorna has had 14 images selected for exhibition with the Professional Photographers of Canada, including Walk in the Light, which won the trophy for Best Commercial Illustration in 2004. A few years ago, Lorna was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, also known as ALL. After 9 months of chemo, Lorna became a cancer survivor. Yay! Been there, done that. Afterwards, Lorna was asked to write a book of encouragement, Promises in the Garden, and that's what we're going to discuss today. You can learn more about all of her work at lornarande.com. There's the book. The website's LornaRande.com. So Lorna, it's so great to see you again. It's so great to work with you again. And
Thank you.
congratulations on all of your work.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a delight to be here. And, as you know already, we have a few years of history back to first meeting you at a Right for Your Life conference in 2019, celebrating the birthday of Madeline L'Engle in her home church. And that was astounding. And yeah, I really appreciate your heart and what you bring to the table.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So what else would you like folks to know about you besides what I kind of briefly touched on there?
Ah, hmm. Um, okay. I mean, you mean personally
Sure, whatever you'd like. Anything you'd
oh
like.
my goodness. Well, I am blessed to be a mother of three daughters, and I have five grandchildren and three wonderful son-in-laws, and and with one of those son-in-laws, two step-grandchildren,
Ah,
two step-grandsons, and the oldest graduated last year.
oh
So
my.
there's quite a bit of depth of different age range, and that's just been a delight. Yeah, I uh, I guess the thing that is in these last 10 years in particular has been a growing season is that about 18 months after I finished my last dose of maintenance chemo, which was 2 years, for 2 years after the 9 months, my husband was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so we walked with him for 20 months through his chemo journey. And he went to be with the Lord 10 years ago this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has been okay. So the gift that God has given me in this season has been discovering the Rabbit Room, which is this wonderful community of
Good.
Christian artists. And so my world has grown in these last 10 years. I've had opportunity to step even more into my art, and I've tried a new form of art, which will come out in this story a little bit.
Oh,
So,
good.
so there's so many blessings in this season that I'm thankful. My Rob was very wise in the way that he left me.
Mm.
And so I have had the freedom to be an artist full time. And so one of the things that has included before we did a road trip when he first retired, before we knew he had cancer, and we met a photographer at Three Hills Bible College, Prairie Bible College in Three Hills, Alberta. And he said, well, are you doing this? No. Well, are you doing that? No. Well, are you doing this? No, no, no. And he said, well, okay, I can just tell you, this is how, easy it is with stock photography. And he pushed his laptop away and he put his arms back and back. Now, the market has changed very much since then, and it's
Yes.
not quite that easy to make money as a digital photographer with a commercial stock photography company, but it was an incredible learning curve. And so what he said, if I recommend you, the owner of the stock photography company in Edmonton, Alberta, will meet with you.
Hmm.
And so he sent an email introducing both of us, and we were just leaving Three Hills on our way to Wetaskiwin County to see friends on their farm. And Rick called, Rick Carlson, who was the owner of Design Picks for up until May last year.
Hmm.
Um, and he said, well, Lauren, if you can get a base of 4,000 images accepted for stock, you'll be able to make $1,000 a month.
Hmm.
So that's what I've been doing full time for the last 11
Wow.
years is
Wow.
trying to reach 4,000. And I was almost there. And then the company was sold in May. And so um, I would just say that during those 11 years of submitting and then having different images accepted, uh, I would send images that I thought, okay, these ones for sure will be, and maybe these ones, and then I would always throw in a few extra because I had no idea. And so every time I would send the small JPEGs, and then they would send me the list of TIFFs, the big files that they wanted me to send. And so whenever I got back the picture, all the images, the little tiny JPEGs of what they wanted, it felt like Christmas. Some of it, oh, they didn't take that one. Oh, they took that one. They took that one. Like there's an image. I after Rob died, I was going through the garage and I was going through all of his stuff. And I found all of these little not well, maybe screws, what circles that might be a washer and different
Hmm.
screws. And
Hmm.
I laid them all out in kind of this just jumble on a white tray and took pictures of them. Well, they took that image. I was just playing. So I've
That's
had
so
a
funny.
lot of fun learning what commercial photography looks like
Hmm.
compared to the artist taking pictures of beautiful things and finding God's handprint all over the world.
Well, so speaking of which, so I'm most familiar with your outdoor photography of the natural world because for those folks that may remember, when I ran the Compassionate Christianity platform, I would publish a photo each day, and many of those photos came from Lorna. So I'm most familiar with that kind of. What are the other types of work that you're doing?
Oh my goodness. Well, I stopped doing weddings. In 2019 was my last wedding um, because um, one of the things that has come, though I'm a cancer survivor, my immune system is still a little bit compromised. And it was at the reception, it was in a barn, and I dropped my camera, my Canon D4 Mark III camera onto the concrete. And
Um,
I thought, I just really need to stop doing this. Because I didn't have the long duration
mm.
for a full day wedding and reception and all the pictures in between. So I'm not doing weddings anymore, but I've done lots of family portraits and high school graduation portraits um, and then I love architectural details. I did a artisan fair. I've taken two courses in the last 2 years. One was 2 years ago, and the other course was last term at Regent College, which is a seminary in Vancouver on UBC campus.
Yeah.
And because I was a student, I was able to be um, part of an artisan market on the 3rd of December. And one of the gals on staff was looking at my doors that I had on display, and she said, Lorna, would you be willing to do an exhibition of your doors? I run the program called Art in Stacks. And so they have all of the rows of library books are all in the rows, but the outside perimeter of the walls are where the students' study desks are. And
Okay.
above those desks, they've got quite a high ceiling. They have art for up to 6 months
Mm,
at a time from
wow.
different people. And so I've just sent to the printers 20 11 by 14s that I've designed of architectural details and doors, and 5 12 by 12s. And then I'm working on something for, I've been I've moved to White Rock, and there's a wonderful art gallery 2 blocks away. And I walked through and I saw somebody that had photography within their piece. So um, I could show you the other thing that I'm doing, which is
Okay,
just,
sure. Oh, wow. That is beautiful. It looks like Italy to me, like Tuscany.
it is Mo Magdalen College in Oxford.
Okay, wow.
So the window is, the structure is in Magdalen College, and I have cut away the window and I have put within it a great tree in the, is it Central Park in New York City? I think that's the park. So this tree, the picture of the tree in fall, was taken the weekend that I met you
Oh my goodness. At the Madeline
for
L'Engle
Madeline
conference.
Langle's
Oh
conference.
my goodness, that's so great. Wow, what a treasure.
So my plan is to, I've done the digital work to combine the two images, and my plan now is to add some paint, some color, some glitter, a little bit of gold, and create a mixed media,
Hmm, hmm.
one of a kind
Oh,
painting.
cool. My goodness. That's just amazing. Wow. Yeah, the people like you that are so creative artistically, just like, it's so completely different than the engineering realm that I grew up in. You can't think that way. Well, I'm glad you can.
Oh, it's fun. So I have 6 different images that are several images in one that I have printed larger onto canvas, and want to create
Wow. Wow.
a mixed
So,
media piece.
so another really, interesting thing that I didn't even know about you until recently is that you have had a documentary done about you. Can you tell folks about that?
Yes. Okay. So um, the year was 2004, and a longtime family friend who was a math teacher decided that he wanted to go into documentary videos, and he needed to have a sample of his work.
Hmm.
So he came to me and said, Lorna, I'd really like to do a documentary biographical video of you and your story as a gift so that I can have samples of
Sure.
what I'm able to do. And so we like it so it started the summer of 2004, and we worked for the whole summer. We went to all sorts
Wow.
of different places that were related to my story,
Hmm.
and he's just done such a fabulous job of it because he's taken me sitting in the places and then added in the picture that I took in that place at a different time. So there were 3 different things that came out of that video. One was just really fun because I'm a portrait artist. Like I um, I dabbled a tiny bit in photography, kind of 12, 16. I entered my first photography competition, but it was really when I took photography in high school when I was 17, and I met Myra Ottewell, who was my teacher from Mississippi. and married a Canadian and came to our school just a couple of years before I was in grade 11. And so I learned darkroom and I stepped into this whole realm of photography. Before that, I was drawing. I did
Mm,
graphic design in high school.
mm,
I took drawing and painting and watercolor. And in my teens, all through my teens, I was drawing portraits
mm,
of people.
mm.
And I had
Wow.
one family hire me to to draw all of their kids and them to draw their portraits when I was 15.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So the photography was a newer thing. And then I married at 19, had three girls in 4 years. There was no more time for portraits.
Sure,
And
sure.
so that was put aside and the photography started. It was just much easier to capture beauty in between. And like the girls actually named my camera Cameron and would laugh because Cameron came with us wherever we went. And the really interesting detail is that the name of the fellow who asked if he could do the video is Cameron Sibe.
Ah, oh, that's great.
So that just was a lovely little
Jeez.
overlap. But so what we did was he filmed me going into um, the high school and talking about Myra.
Hmm,
And then I had done a picture. I had taken a portrait of Myra, which I discovered later was her very favorite portrait of all of her time.
hmm.
And it was put into the video as I was walking into the school. Well, Myra didn't know anything about this. And when the DVD was finished, we had this huge DVD release party, and I invited her as part of the celebration. She had no idea what was coming.
Oh
So
my goodness.
that was absolutely lovely. But the other two things that happened, um, when I became a member of the Professional Photographers of Canada, so that was 2000 until 2012. And because I was listed with them, there were a number of things that happened. But one of them was the BC Cancer Agency in Surrey was looking for someone to donate images to go in the ceiling to be backlit over the radiation tables.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And so they had approached me, I believe it was 2002, and I gave them three images. And then in 2004, they came to me asking if I would be willing to donate two more images.
Hmm, hmm.
Well, it just so happened that um, that my phone call to say that the images were installed and would I like to come see them coincided with the timing of Cameron filming me that summer.
Oh my goodness.
So he asked if he could accompany me into the vault
Wow.
and take pictures of me looking at the picture in the ceiling.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody is allowed to film in radiation vaults.
Sure.
And so the piece that I didn't say is that when I was asked if I would be willing to donate, I said yes, because my mom died of cancer
Hmm.
in 1983 at 44 years of age. And in her honor, I would love to donate these images.
Wow.
So
Wow.
then he has me in the vault, leaning on the radiation bed, looking up and talking about my mom.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow. What an
that
amazing thing.
could not have been planned.
No.
When I asked Barbara Isle if we could do that, she said, "Oh, that's never been allowed. That's never been allowed. No, no, I don't think so. Uh, well, because it's for personal use, let me ask a few questions.
Wow.
So we were given permission.
Wow.
It was astounding. And the second thing that was, okay, I didn't think to lay it out. I'll go get it. Hold on. The second thing that we could never have planned was that 2004 in March, I won the trophy for best commercial illustration. So what that means, so it's a monstrous sized trophy. It's this big, the great big cup, and then
Wow.
on the bottom it has little plates, and on each plate are about 5 names of the name of the person who won this trophy in what year.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I had that trophy just for the year of 2004, and then it had to go on to the next recipient. So what they gave me that I was able to keep was this. And so it is provincial salon. So the Professional Photographers of BC, Professional Photographers Association of BC, and I won the best illustration. So this is fading. So I do have printed. So this was the first time that I
Wow.
began to
Wow.
play around with
Huh.
two images in one. So
That's cool.
the flip-flops belong to one of my dearest friends who loves gardening and never wears socks. And then the reeds of it are at the river. Rob was fishing and I was playing around capturing details. And so this is a path through those reeds and the light was shining through them. So this was my idea to put them together and call it Walk in the Light.
Oh my
So
goodness. So
the
cool.
fact that Cameron was doing this DVD the year that I
Oh my goodness.
won that trophy.
Yes.
It's the only trophy that my name is on. I had 14 images selected for exhibition, and several of them have Judge's Choice Award. Each judge is allowed to choose their very favorite out of that salon that year. I have an honorable mention, so I have all sorts of ribbons, but that's the only trophy, and it was in 2004. So
So cool.
it's just one of those wild things that the last part is maybe not quite like he's broken it into 3-minute segments over 5 segments. So it's total 16 minutes. So what he has communicated in those 16 minutes is just absolutely beautiful. His work is exquisite. It was a delight to partner with him, and uh, it tells my story and it documents my artwork. And so that was just a real honor and a privilege
Sure.
to be asked to do.
And to be able to include the things that you included in it, that's just amazing.
Like I just have to say, there is a God in heaven who is uh, above and beyond what we could ever ask or imagine. His ways are not our ways. And sometimes that's a painful thing. I think that for me, my perspective, I mean, you have these questions. How can God let good people suffer? Well, because he's given each of us a free will to choose whether we will follow him or not. And so the thing that I love, and it comes out of Joseph's story, the one of the 12 sons of Abraham, and this idea when he was sold into slavery and the brothers come to get grain and they don't know that this high-ranking official in Pharaoh's court is their brother. They have no idea. And they're coming to get the grain and he tests them. And then when he reveals who he is, they're just absolutely afraid that he's going to kill them all. And he says, what you intended for evil, God has used for good. And so this is the piece that I take with me, is that we have an amazingly grand God who does not cause us to suffer, but he uses the suffering for our good, both in disciplining us that we may be holy as he is holy, but for greater purposes that are above and beyond what we could ever imagine. So
Amen.
I've gotten sidetracked because now I forget why I
All
started that
right.
story.
Well,
I'm
let's
sorry.
get, we got to talk about your book. So let's get to
Yes.
your book. Okay. So
Okay.
Promises in
So,
the Garden. How did that come
so
about?
this is another one of those pieces where um, Cameron asked me if he could do the documentary. And this book is a direct result of a gal named Michelle Fauché, who was living with us when I went through those 9 months of chemo. She was boarding with us. She watched how I lived my journey. And I think that I can say that in my cancer journey, the one thing um, that is probably the most beautiful gift is that God revealed himself to me in such a way that my key verse for those all of those months was, I've heard the voice of the bridegroom, and this my joy has been made full.
Hmm.
And I actually have that verse in the book, but I haven't said why it's there. I think it is in August.
Hmm.
So um, I've heard the voice of the bridegroom, so this my joy has been made full.
Hmm.
And it is John being asked by his disciples, the guy that you baptize is baptizing other people. Like, what are you going to do about that? No, no, no. I only have gone before him. He is the one. He is the one that I was just a foreshadowing of. So I must decrease and he must increase. I have heard the voice of the bridegroom, and this my joy has been made full. He is the bridegroom. I am just the friend. And so that was my verse. So this is what Michelle watched and saw lived out in front of her as I was walking through those 9 months of chemo, is that we were supposed to be in Rwanda. Rob and I had committed to go to
Hmm.
Rwanda,
Hmm.
and 3 weeks, it got delayed, 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 and they were ready to place the reinforcing steel. My Rob was an iron worker. 3 weeks after I was diagnosed.
Hmm. Hmm.
We were supposed to be in Rwanda at that time.
Hmm.
That time could have come any time during those from 2008, October, when we'd gotten all of our shots. And here it was, April 2010.
Hmm.
So the very fact that we were not in Rwanda when I was diagnosed with the acute lymphoblastic, it comes quickly and hits with a bang. And if you're not within treatment
Hmm.
within 1 week of being diagnosed, you die.
Wow. Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
So when I was in emergency and they can't find out why what is going and they can't get a bone marrow biopsy, this is Friday and they can't get it till Monday. And the emergency doctor comes to the side of my bed and he's got tears in his eyes as he's saying, even if I took you by ambulance, you could not have the bone marrow biopsy done until 1 o'clock on Monday. And I'm going, I've had 4 units of blood. Like I'm feeling great. Like I have no idea why he has tears in his eyes. Well, it's because he knows that.
Hmm.
And so as soon as I was diagnosed, I was taken by ambulance into Vancouver and they started immediately to do the tests to figure out. And by Wednesday, I was on the beginning of my regime, several different kinds all the way through. So, so this is just part of this whole thing of why my joy was made full. I was alive. If I'd been in Rwanda with Rob, I would not be today. So that
Hmm.
was one thing. And then Rob had been working in northern Manitoba, but he was home. So there were all these different
Wow.
things. And there'd been this prayer over me that I would know the affirmation of God in the core of my being. Well, when all these people found out that I should have been dead, the outpouring of love over me
Mm,
was
mm,
astounding. That
wow.
prayer was answered. God showed his care for me and the affirmation. Like, when a person dies and the funeral happens, that's when you generally hear all the stories of that person made a difference to me in this
Mm,
way.
mm,
Well, I had that given to me
wow.
before because I almost died. And
Mm,
so it was absolutely beautiful. So then in December of 2012, Michelle's back in Edmonton living with her family, and she contacts me and she says, Lorna, I saw the way that you walked your journey. And my great auntie has been diagnosed with cancer. She loves God's word and she loves gardens. And I'm wondering if you would write a book to encourage her as she walks her journey.
wow. Wow.
I said, well, I don't think I can write the book for your auntie, but if you're okay with me writing a book for anyone who's walking through really tough stuff, I would do that. And so she agreed. And, like I tried to spell it out in the book, but um, it's, no, it's not. Anyways, this one is a bit of, after my first 50 books were printed, I had reason to be at Vancouver General Hospital before sunrise. And so a girlfriend, I had driven her in and she had a little minor surgery. And so while I was there, I took all these pictures and I decided that I needed to make a statement thanking the medical team
Mm,
for all the work that they do. Um, What a delight to capture beauty in the places where my intense fight for life was equaled by those who gave me such excellent care during my time of vulnerability. Thank you to the many who work in our medical system, who give in a myriad of ways so that our fight is not only made easier, but made possible. So I added this, but essentially what I decided to do when Michelle asked me was to choose 12 gardens, to choose images from 12 gardens that I had taken in each month of the year. And so
mhm.
the book was laid out according to a garden that had been taken in that month. And
Okay.
so I would choose the main verse and choose the images and set them together. And then I would write a little bit about why that verse was important to me, how it had shaped my journey. And so I was doing 2 pages at a time. And I would send them to Michelle. And then when I came to December, she said, Lorna, is there any way that you could just print 4 images, like 4 books, that you could create 4 books immediately? Auntie's now been diagnosed with pneumonia.
Oh my.
And so the whole project was this um, incredible sense of, I can only say that God was leading. The verses I'd been walking with God by that point from 1975 until 2012, so 35, 36 years or something like that. And and then this book I've added this the so this was not part of the book to Michelle, but I I'm going to close those blinds because we're getting a lot of. So I basically wrote the book in 6 weeks.
Wow.
There was only January that I had to go and take pictures in a garden in January. All of the other months I had from 2012. So I would go through and choose a verse and choose the images and then write a little bit. And so there's a bit of prayer, a bit of devotional thought, and other scriptures. And so we came to that point. So I printed off the 4 books. They arrived on the Friday. I brought the daughter of great auntie lived in Surrey where I lived. And so I brought it to her Friday night. She read it to her mom on the Saturday, and auntie was gathered to glory on Monday.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So,
Oh,
God knew that it needed to happen short order. And I basically just wrote about the promises that had been my greatest strength all through decades of my life. And so it just came together quite quickly. And then we've basically been sitting with this, like I printed 50 and they arrived in July of 2013. And then I did that walk in November of 2013 and added that page into the book for the next 50 books. And then the book has pretty much sat until there is only one left all of these years later. And I mean, when I first met you, Brian, I asked, could you help me figure out a publisher? What do I do with this book? Because people are asking for it. And I wasn't really happy with the second set of books. And so I've been kind of researching and trying to figure things out. And so just in the last, well, it was a year and a half ago that people were asking about how they got a copy. I said, I'm going to find a way to do a print on demand. Let me know who wants them, start a list. And so it's been only just in the last 3 or 4 months that I have made the decision. I looked at a site that gave all kinds of comparisons of all of these different companies. And, I've had people say, do a Kickstarter and all of that. But many of my friends are in, like a lot of my Rabbit Room friends are in the States and in the UK, and I'm in Canada. And I don't want to have all these books shipped to me that I have to ship all over the world.
mhm.
And I've discovered with Lulu Publishing that they have their main office is in the US, but they have a printing setup in Canada, in the UK, in France, and in
Wow.
Australia.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, not only did it have the flexibility that people from all over the world can order the books, but it had the highest level of quality. And
Wow.
so that's who I went with. And so this book is the copy of the print on demand. Um, so I decided that when I did this book, that I would actually, because Rob and I had both walked through cancer, that I would do one more set of pages
Hmm.
telling a little bit about the story of Rob
Yes.
and then choosing a verse. And
Yes.
so the last piece of it, and I think that I talk a bit about Rob, and then I have this piece that I think that will resonate with you. Mary Oliver, the poet, asks, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? My reply, I will choose to be immersed in the exquisite, wild, never-ending love of God. I will go treasure hunting with the King of Kings. One of my favorite verses, I quote here from Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. It is the glory of kings to reveal a matter. I will encourage others. I will find joy even in the shadows. I will learn to be still and rest in the quiet. I don't do that very well. I'm still learning it at 60, almost 66 this week. And then I have just closed with, may you discover the mysterious way you were being woven together with gifts, abilities, and beauty while you were concealed in your mother's womb. May you be encouraged to walk and grow in those specific gifts, for no matter the journey you have walked, there is a glory woven within you that is needed in our world. May you discover you are loved with an exquisite, never-ending, wild love. May this book encourage you towards hope. And so then I've taken some of my newest images that have been accepted for stock and put them with this verse. For you created my inmost parts. You wove me together in my mother's womb. And yes, I did put that heart together on the beaches of Maui.
Wow. That's just so amazing, Lorna. Goodness sakes. Well, I really appreciate you sharing, your story with us, and it's very inspiring.
Thank
All
you.
of the experiences you've had and all of the incredible art, that has come from your heart is just so wonderful to see. And I'm so glad that you can kind of share it with folks anew, kind of a resurrection in some sense of the
It's
book,
crazy.
you
It's
know.
crazy. 2013 to here we are in
Yeah,
2026.
yes. Well, thanks so much for joining us and sharing that. And please, everyone, check out Promises in the Garden and all of Lorna's work at lornarande.com. Thanks again, Lorna.
Thank you. Bye-bye.